Do you ever wonder why it is so hard to make lasting change? And I mean real transformative, lasting changes. It is very hard for most of us, and it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of willingness and a lot of practicing to finally make it across that big divide to become who you really want to be. We can call it the future self. I think in all of us, there is a future self that is knocking on our door and wants us to open up for it to come out, to become what we deeply long for inside of us. So I want to use this metaphor of this big divide, or we can just imagine it's a big river, a big wide river, and you're standing on this side of the river, and on the other side, on the banks there is your future self. And this future self is the longing that lives inside of you of who you want to become. It really is a feeling, and we kind of know what it is, but most of us, of course, ignore it and resist it because there is a part of us that believes that we can never become that. Now, I want to say here that there is a reason that that longing lives in you. It is really a future self, if there is such a thing, but it is like somebody that we would like to become in the future, hopefully in the near future. But at some point, there's a dreaming, a longing, a hoping. And then maybe when we end up on our death's bed, we didn't make it. And there's something in us that regrets it. It's like, oh, I never became that loving person. I never really, forgave this person. I never really let out that potential that I know is inside of me because I know how to do it. I know what to do. And something has always kept me back. That part is alive in each one of us when we pay attention to it. Of course, not everybody pays attention to it, but there's those of us probably who listen to these kind of videos. It's because there is something in us that wants change. So here we are at this side of the shore, looking over to the other side of the shore, longing to become that new being, that new expression. And this expression, this future self, you can imagine it's standing there and it's saying, come on over, right? That's the longing you feel. It's like, come, yeah, let's do this. And you feel that and you resist it and you ignore it. And the future self is always there because who you are today, who I am today, is not the end of the story. It's not the end of our expression or evolution. There's so much more. We're just, at a short impasse here, being who we are now, who we think we are, limited, contracted, small, unexpressed. And then there, over on the other side, which is here, the longing, there's this like, gosh, I really wish I could, whatever. Now, if you finally say, I've had enough, I don't want to be this anymore. It makes me unhappy. I'm resisting myself. I'm hating myself. I'm not living the life that I really want to, that I know I came here for. Something in you starts going like, I want to change. End of story. And then you start figuring out and feeling into what it is that you want. What is the new expression that you want to experience? And that's your future self. So you go like, you might write it down, you might, write a little essay or make a painting or dance it. There's somehow to allow this energy of the new you to become known, to make itself known to you, because now you're listening. So you commit to it. It's like, darn it, I'm going to lose that weight. I'm going to apply for that job. I'm going to talk to this person. I'm going to break up with that person. I'm going to revamp my business, whatever it is. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to start exercising. And you're committed. Many times on January 1st, right? And then you start out, you go to the gym, you start eating, more salads, you cut out certain foods, whatever it is. And it's like, this is cool, but it's hard too, right? Because the comfort of the convenience of what we're used to is also a strong pull. But here we go. And then you start crossing the river, you start crossing the waters, and it's pretty shallow in the beginning. And then as you move further in, the waves start getting bigger and scarier and more persistent. And you go, whoa, whoa. And many times, probably for most people, on January 5th or 9th, or maybe a little longer, they go back to the shore. Like, nope, that's too hard. I don't know what these waves are, but I don't know how to deal with them. Here, at least, I know who I am. I don't like it, but at least I don't need to deal with those waves. That is how most people stay on this side. Convenient, lazy is also a big one. I can't be bothered. It's too much. And they never venture out again, or they don't venture out further than the first wave that knocks them over or threatens them. So what I want to add to this story is how important it is that we know what these waves are all about. That is the resistance. Remember, we talked about resistance, right? That is the resistance that we all, without exception, have to meet, seemingly in the waters, but it is inside of us. So when I created my program called Say Yes to Yourself Without Fear or Doubt, I think it's the first module. It is all about getting to know your resistance and then learning how to deal with that resistance. And this resistance can show up in any flavor, any size, any shape. But if you and I do not know what the shape, flavor, expression, strength, temptation, we don't know what it is, and we don't take the time to learn how to dismantle it or to battle with it, or I should say dance with it, make space for it, learn about it, learn what it needs to move along with you across the waters. Then it will win every single time. Every time. And isn't that sad? Because in reality, you just need to know what it is, what this wave is all about, and this, all of them. But there's some of them that are more persuasive and more demanding, more scary. We know what they are. Then we learn how to be with them and soften them. And instead of running against it with a no and a resistance, you know how I use the self-love and the all formula that I've talked about. You meet this wave, this resistance with an open hand, and you listen to it, and you help it find out what it is so afraid of, attached to, what is more important than reaching the other side of the shore. When you know that, then you can dance with it. You can swim with it. You can dive into the wave and you can just, bounce around and maybe even have some fun with it. And what happens then, and this is where the magic comes in, when that resistance, that no, is softened and actually turns into a yes, then this yes energy feeds your commitment to keep going. So it's like filling up your tank so you can keep going across the waters. And then a little further, and you go like, you feel so relieved, like, oh, I made it through this one. Fantastic. I'm on my way. But then you will most likely meet another one, maybe bigger one. But here's the cool part. You have now more yes in you because you converted the no into a yes. So your yes to your commitment is now stronger and bigger. And you have some kind of a sense of victory because you overcame the previous one. And then it's like, oh, then I can do it again. And then with the extra energy and with the feeling of success, the next one, you will be able to tackle that much easier. And on it goes. And eventually you will become your future self because you've learned how to deal with the resistance. And it may not sound very interesting. I hope it does. But it's because most of us don't really want to deal with our resistances. One of the resistances is called laziness and comfort, convenience. They're huge. They're huge. And they usually win unless you catch it and you go like, oh, here is laziness trying to stop me. Let me think again. Let me take a new look at that. Laziness, now that I can really see it. And then you work with that part that rather wants to be lazy. And you find out what is so important about being lazy. And then if that part of you feels done with being lazy, because when you're lazy, you stay on this side of the shore, right? But when you meet that and it transforms, then laziness will not stop you anymore. And you will keep going and getting closer and closer to your future self. I want to just share also the flip side of that. If you run into laziness, let's just use laziness and comfort. And if you say, you know what, now that I can see it for what it is, I actually prefer to stay in my comfort zone and not cross those waves. Now, that's a very different choice point than doing it through resistance and not really know why you're resistant. But here you make this, you basically made a new commitment where you say, you know what? I just want to be lazy. I just want to be lazy. I like it. And, that is my choice. And that means, and I will not reach my potential. I will not lose the weight. I will not blah, blah. But it's a conscious choice and it's okay. Everything is always okay when you do it consciously because you're not in battle with yourself and your energy is freed up. Instead of choosing your future self, you choose comfort and convenience. Why not? Who cares? You do it consciously, and in that, you take back a lot of your energy and you won't resist yourself. You just have accepted that this is my choice, and that's just how it is. Now, it could change in a month and a year, very possible. Sometimes we just need to live in that other experience. But as long as we do it consciously, it's a very, very different energy. And it might even liberate you to also let that go at some point. So I hope that's helpful if you are struggling with changing yourself, reaching your future self. And maybe you want to start getting curious about how you are stopping yourself or what parts of you are not on board with you. We need to get all parts on board to make it to the other side.